Sounds good.
Do it. You got that noted, Erica?
Oh, it's on there.
Sweet.
It's very official.
Awesome. I do not have the agenda in front of me. Anthony or someone else might have to walk us through.
Yeah, that's fine. I have it in front of me here.
Perfect.
So I guess the first thing would be the minutes from last meeting.
I can make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll second.
Yay.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I
Anyone?
All
Got
right.
anything? I think we're all for it.
Got it.
So one thing I didn't put on here, but Jay wanted me to mention is we talked to that constable with the town beach incident. He also talked to Stu, and then he had her come in for a meeting as well, just to kind of apologize on behalf of the town.
Oh, that's great.
do I
Yeah.
want to know what happened?
Yeah, Marie, you want to brief her since it was someone.
So my neighbor had an issue the first time she ever went to the town beach. She's lived here for a couple years now, and she went with just her young daughters. And the constable that was working at the beach had been very friendly, asked her for her ID to show that she lived in town, which she didn't have a problem with. But then she was the only one there for a while. The constable and his wife were both very nice to her the whole time. And then I guess maybe it was when they were leaving, I don't know, because she was in the parking lot near her car. A group of cars all came in, and like the one in front asked, "Oh, do you need to see my ID?" And he just made a comment, "Oh, no, you have that kind of face." And the woman even said, "What do you mean? What kind of face?" And he said, "An honest one." And it definitely upset my neighbor. She happens to be Puerto Rican. And it didn't sit well with her. She didn't say anything to him at the time, but
Right.
afterwards, of reflecting upon it, just felt that it really implied that she didn't have an honest face because of how she looked. And she just wanted that acknowledged, and not because she wanted to get anyone in trouble, but more that she felt like something needed to be done to address how the constables were speaking to people and in front of people, and just being more consistent about either asking everyone for their ID like they're supposed to, or not making comments like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so Jay, I think she came in last week and he sat down with her for kind of a meeting just to apologize on behalf of the town and then the constable as well.
We got some action on that. That's great. Some good follow-up.
Yeah, so I figured before we start, I just want to mention that before I forget.
Yeah, no, that's great.
She let me know last week when she went in too, so she was glad that he addressed it.
Yeah, and he made sure to do that because he felt bad, especially with the kids there as well.
Yeah.
Great.
So I guess for current programs, I can start that now. It's going to be pretty quick. Adult volleyball, I heard from Brian on Sunday, and he decided to end for the fall. Just he figured with the nice weather, it'd be a good way to end, and kind of with the rising cases, he was kind of worried about, keep going, especially now that weather's going to turn.
How many people were participating in it?
I think he had like around 8.
Oh,
So it was a small group. And then we'll do it again in the spring, kind of when the weather gets nicer, and we'll kind of stay at the sand courts for now because I don't know when we'll have access to an indoor gym. Adult yoga, I mean, everything seems to be going pretty well down there. I know they are trying to kind of figure out the winter because I think some of the people are kind of concerned about having to wear a mask during yoga, and they kind of want to stray away from that. So we're looking into
I was
the
going to talk to
possibility
them
of going
tonight
virtual.
and see what they thought about that, because wearing the mask is just not ideal. So she was going to ask them if they wanted to go back to Zoom or to stay.
Yeah, that's kind of what she said to me. It sounded like tonight was going to be like a trial and kind of a survey to see what everyone thought.
Right. Yep.
So what's the deal with the mask? They haven't been wearing masks and now they're going to wear masks? I don't know
I think
about
with
that.
the change in the the COVID numbers. So they weren't wearing masks. They were wearing them in, and once they started, because they were staying on their mats, they would take them off. But now she's asking them to leave them on through the whole session. And some of them, I think, just don't want to actually exercise or wear the mask during the workout.
Yeah, so with those, like the 2.1 guidelines, you have to wear a mask while you socially distance now, whereas before she could have them 12 feet apart and you didn't have to wear the mask.
I think Massachusetts had said that now everyone like in gyms had to wear masks from what I read from some post that I don't know. It said something like didn't matter how spaced out they were, like indoors in classes now in mass, they have to wear them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think that Connecticut has that because I have been following the guidelines and I've been reading and I haven't seen anything about that. If you can maintain, it's supposed to be for exercise indoors that you maintain 12 feet distance to not wear a mask in Connecticut. If you're not doing something that's like a cardio type of like exercise, then you can be 6 feet without a mask.
So that
So-
would be yoga.
I'm just not sure. I'm not sure if that's the instructor's feeling or if it's actually being mandated by Connecticut because no gyms would be open.
Yeah, so all it said was like indoor recreation for that kind of category that you had to wear the masks and socially distance. So we just figured to be on the safe side that we would follow that since there's really nothing else in those new guidelines out for exercise classes.
There's nothing. All right. Just curious.
Yeah, it was just to kind of be on the safe side, and it's impossible to kind of keep up with everything.
Right. Right. Well, it keeps changing, so.
Yeah, because that kind of leads into some of the problems that we're kind of experiencing right now and figuring out this gingerbread house contest. So I've been talking to Jay about that, and kind of the biggest concern is over the new guidelines, because we're considering the barn inside, so you can only have up to 25 people at one time. So his concern is just how do we ensure that it's keeping to a small group and the town doesn't get blamed for, spreading this.
You know, we talked about being able to post all the pictures so that people could judge virtually as an option. Do we prefer to just do it virtually or have people sign up for time slots so we never go over the amount of people that actually go to the barn?
Yeah,
Or could we do like Walmart did where someone counts who's in and out and just keep 25 at a time?
yeah, that's what we could do. We could have like a volunteer at each end, making sure there's only 25 at a time. The other thing that's going to make it a little difficult is the business association wants to partner with us and they're going to have their food drive at the barn as well. So that'll draw in more people.
Could they drop
Well, I
outside
mean,
for that?
they just had the huge event there with like 1,000 people for the trunk or treat. So, I
It
mean,
was outdoors, like if we're
Right.
trying to have the barn be our main part, I think.
we should still be able to keep people like in some sort of like line or something, standing outside waiting to go in.
But what if you marked it off so that it was like one-way traffic through and around, so it wasn't like clustering, So you kind of
Right.
like follow a path to view it and wind your way through instead of clustering.
Yeah, I do think we should have a path. And I mean, I guess the only thing would be it's weather dependent. People won't want to stand outside in a line if it's like super cold or windy or raining. So
Yeah.
that's the only concern with like time of year. And as far as like,
Could we
how long
use
people
the
can
circle of the parking lot and have them like drive and wait in their cars and then like, kind of get out and cycle that way so that they wouldn't be standing in a line? You'd be sitting in your car for your turn? Or is that too complicated?
I wonder how rushed people will feel walking through the barn if there's like a huge line standing outside or waiting in cars. That's why, I mean, I do like the idea of it being in person because it's nicer to see them in person. And then also people will be donating to the food drive, but I don't know, maybe we wouldn't have a huge crowd wanting to be in person if they can also vote virtually. It's hard to predict since we haven't done it before.
Yeah, and the other thing that Rick was kind of unsure about is what the private park would fall under. So he doesn't know like if he needs to follow the 25 or if he needs to follow the 10. And if he needed to follow the 10, then that would make it virtually impossible.
If both sides are open in the barn, it's almost like it's outside. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the airflow. I
Right,
think
that's what
that
I
would
was,
allow for it to be 25.
Then you're just going through a covered bridge,
right.
stroll in the park.
Yeah, he did leave it open to us. So I think really the only thing that you have to do is you just have to have someone at the entrances and monitoring and making sure that there's only 25. And then me and Jay talked about like having the tables spread out so it's kind of one-way traffic and there's not congestion like all in the middle.
Right, maybe you walk in one door and you exit another.
Yeah.
I think so.
But it's hard to know how many people will come and how many extra this food drive will draw in as well.
Could the food drive be a drive-by drop-off?
Yeah, so they had a meeting earlier that I listened into, and I think what their plan is to either do it like in the parking lot or somewhere separate where people will just kind of drive up and someone will grab like the stuff either out of your car or you can drop it off in the spot and they'll put it in a car and just bring it off to Teague. So it sounds like it's going to be separate and not really involve people getting in and out too much.
Are we creating a Facebook event for it? Because I'm wondering, like, when they had the art at the Roseland Cottage, you know, there were like different timetables. So you could say like interested or going, right? Like you can for a Facebook event, but they had it for like different times. So you could say like interested or going to the 10 a.m. or the 12 p.m. or the 2 p.m. And I know they did staggered tickets, but maybe that would be another way to get a sense of what the traffic flow would look like. If people saw it posted as a timed event, even if they didn't have to get a ticket for a time, maybe that would let them think about it in that capacity.
Yeah, I could do that.
That's a good idea. It's always just so hard to know when it's like a new event, how many people will be interested.
And such
Yeah.
a strange year. So not a typical year that we could say like last year doing the Winter Festival for the first time, but we kind of had an idea of flow, you know, a little bit. And it's so hard with this year. People are desperate to find things to do, but it's hard to.
Yeah, people are just looking for anything to do. I mean,
How many
But it's
people
hard to
participate?
plan anything to do because you're restricted.
correct.
How many people participated in the Winter Festival last year?
Hard to know how many we had. Honestly, I don't really have a number.
Yeah, I just wondered, like, you know, we had the raffle with the passport submitted, so that's like one barometer, or if we could, if there's
Yeah,
any way to get a
I
sense.
think I still have those somewhere in the office so I could see how many I have.
I bet that there was probably about 200 people, 250.
Yeah, probably around there at the barn.
Would be my guess.
So then maybe we start with that as like a ballpark, you know?
Right.
I mean, a motivator for that last year was people hoping to win prizes, so that ups it versus just people coming to vote. So it might not. I don't see it getting as much participation, which will help us. You know,
Unless
if we
it's that people don't have anything to do and this is all in one
Right.
place. I don't have to go different places. I just have to go one place.
true.
Well, then if we
Um,
offer the virtual aspect as well, you know, people
that.
can still participate without having to go.
Right.
I like that idea. Are we doing any kind of voting while they're there? Like, is there any kind of picking your favorites across different categories or something?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna ask next, how we wanted to do that. Did we want to kind of leave it up to the people viewing, or did we, like, as the commission, want to be kind of the judges on everything?
So when I did the pumpkin contest at the Grange, there weren't a ton of people. It was really nice to have people vote. So even if you just give them like a scrap piece of paper and have them walk through and drop it in the end, I think that that's a fun aspect to an event, and they
Yeah.
enjoy voting.
I think
Then we
so.
got to make sure that we have like pencils or something that no one else is gonna touch, or that they're getting disinfected when I mean, it's like so insane.
Maybe
'cause
we could just tell them to go on and vote virtually after they come visit them in person. I don't know.
We can
Yeah,
make
I
a
could-
little QR code that goes to like a Google or something, and then they could just scan it with their phone and vote on their phones. And then it would count them for us.
Oh,
It's a great idea.
Because
that
there's
easy
like
to do?
websites where you can just make a QR code and then it just prints
Yeah.
out.
Perfect.
that's great, because then they're just touching their phones.
Yeah, and then I
That's
had it set up where I figured we'll have 3 categories. So it'd be kids, adults, and then like businesses and organizations. And then what did we kind of want to look to add for prizes? Because I was thinking about reaching out to like business association, but the problem is that food drive is going to kind of take away from that because they're offering prizes from the local businesses for how much you donate. So if you donate like 10 pounds or $10, you get a raffle ticket, and then those raffle tickets go to their kind of various prizes.
Oh,
Okay.
So that kind
Uh,
of took away from asking businesses to donate to kind of what we got going on, since they already have that.
Right. Should we
What did
do,
we do for? Oh, go ahead, Sarah.
well, I was thinking since it's the holiday time, like it might be kind of nice if we did like a gift card or something. Maybe we could ask the bakery, even if we had to pay a little bit of money as well.
Just do it for like first place winners in the categories.
Yeah,
And
I
the
don't know.
kids could get a Walmart gift card too, and the
Yeah.
adults could get a bakery, you know.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I can do something different for every category.
But it would be cool to have maybe the bakery be a part of it somehow. And
Maybe
it's the holiday, time, so chances are you can pick something up there.
maybe the winery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I can
Right,
talk
maybe
to Linda.
Celerbrook, maybe the bakery. Like try to keep it local, like give it back to Woodstock businesses.
I can
Yeah.
ask Angela if she wants to do something from the creamery for one of the categories.
That
That's
might
a
be
great-
good for the kids one, especially.
Yeah, I'll ask
Yeah.
her. Because she usually donates to like when we're doing the basket bash for school and things like that. So I can ask her about putting a little prize together or a little gift card for maybe the kids category or something.
That's perfect.
I know my kids would buy $20 worth of ice cream. No joke. So
Mine would be like chocolate milk. But she even has cookies now a lot and things like that. So
t-shirts and mugs and little knit stuff too, and stickers.
yep.
Fun things in there.
And
That's
then
perfect.
kind of the last big piece that I'm trying to figure out with Tom Pandolfi and the American Legion is if we want to do a tree lighting and how we can do it. And how I presented to them would be, I think it would have to be virtual, and we would just stream on our Facebook account.
Okay.
Because with the new guidelines, I just figure it's going to be too difficult to socially distance and then make sure you're not going over the cap of how many people you're allowed.
Right. So they're like basically saying no public events.
How they have it right now for the category that Roseland Park would fall under is it's 25 for indoors and 50 for outdoors.
Oh, 50. Gotcha.
So did that change dramatically since Halloween when they did their thing and he said, oh, because we have 60 acres and we can socially distance, we can have all these hundreds and hundreds of people that show up? Like, did it switch since then?
Yeah, on Friday is when it changed again. They
Okay.
went at 2.1 and kind of made it even harder to run anything.
Okay.
But there's still tons of people at Walmart and tons of people at Lowe's, at Target. Price Chopper's packed.
Don't forget the package store.
Yep. Just
So would you-
makes no sense.
Doing the tree lighting, even if you did that virtually, would you be doing that, tying that into like how we're doing the holiday light contest and the like that we're sticking with the 13th for the gingerbread house contest? Is it going to be that same date like we would have for the winter festival, or when were they thinking of doing it?
Yeah, so what I was thinking is we do the gingerbread house contest, and then following that would be the tree lighting. And then the holiday lights contest, I figured we could start the 13th and run that whole week and go through the 20th.
So the tree lighting would be kind of a nice kickoff then of our,
Yeah, so the
Holiday
gingerbread
lights
house and
contest.
tree lighting would be kind of the kickoff to that like townwide holiday lights contest.
Is the tree lighting going to be at the barn again or outside the barn?
Yeah, that would be the goal, is to have it out there. That way it's easier since I'll already be there and I can just kind of stream it from the iPad after.
Would it be nice to do it before the gingerbread contest? Because then people could see it when they go through and it would be all lit up.
Yeah, I can ask them if that would work.
I don't know. Or if,
I
if
know
we want to
there's-
use it as a kickoff for holiday lights, totally get that too.
Either way, because I know right now it's a maybe. Here's going to present to the American Legion board and kind of see what they thought.
if you do it beforehand, you won't risk people trying to stick around at the end of their gingerbread viewing to be there when they light the tree. And then we have the whole like, oh, the rec department organized a gathering.
Yeah.
So if we could do it before, even though they might not see the lights so well until later, like, I don't know, I guess it depends. It might be hard for you to stream like a tree lighting in broad daylight though.
Yeah,
But-
that's the really tricky part.
Yeah, I think if you do it after, which is probably fine, probably wait until the gingerbread viewing has cleared out and then do it. So no one sticks around, I guess.
Because the other option was we could have it at the American Legion post, and then people could be like in their cars, like across the street at the church parking lot to watch.
Yeah, that's an idea. I kind of like it in the park, but
Yeah, me too. I think it's easier that way and better.
It looks nice with the barn too.
Yeah.
yeah,
People go there, and walk around and see
right
it.
after the fact.
Right.
Yeah, I would vote for the park.
And I feel like Rick and Dee can keep an eye on it there at the park. They're always there. So
Well, that's gonna change. They're actually out of town, so they won't be here for this. So that's
Oh,
why
okay.
it's up to us.
Oh, so they won't be here even for the gingerbread?
They won't be there at all on the 13th.
okay.
Okay. So it is just us.
Well, then
Yeah,
I guess I'm glad we're not doing the winter festival there this year because they were a big help with that last year.
All right, so they're basically saying that they won't be there, but we have permission to use the barn.
Yeah, he said just don't get him in trouble.
Okay.
And I
That's why
confirm
he's
the
taking off.
dates and times for it too.
What was that?
Oh, can I just confirm the dates and times for the event?
Yeah, so it'll be Sunday, December 13th. And right now I have it 1 to 4. And then 12 to 1 is what I figured when everyone can kind of come in and set up before the event starts.
So maybe we could do the tree lighting at like 11.
Yeah, if we did it before, we could do that.
Cool. Thank you. I put that down.
When we did it last year, I can't remember what time exactly we did the tree lighting, but was it starting to get a little dark at that point?
I feel like it was like 4 o'clock or.
Yeah, which is when it
Yeah.
is starting to get a little dark.
Yeah, it was
late.
like on the later end when everybody like came back to the barn and like they turned in
Yeah.
all their stuff and it was kind of like the end of the event.
Right. I do think it would look nicer if you're streaming it online to have it where you can see the lights better and everything.
I
Yeah,
agree.
that's kind of what I was thinking after.
Yeah.
And then I know Business association said to let them know if we need like any help or any volunteers, they'd be willing to kind of help us with the event as well, in addition to their food drive.
Is their drive also from 1 to 4?
Yeah, they're gonna do it the entire time we're there. Is
Okay.
their plan.
I say you take them up on that offer.
Yeah, I figure we're gonna need all the help we can get.
Absolutely. Okay, so what do you need from us, Anthony, for that? Or do you pretty much know what your next steps are?
I think really it's just gonna be probably needing help just ensuring that 25 people is maintained and kind of help with the doors, getting people in and out.
Okay,
I think everything else, like I can figure out the prizes. I can start posting this and I'll kind of combine it with the business association. I'll talk to them again and see who they would have for volunteers to help out as well.
Will Rick
Perfect.
leave you access to like tables and things since they're not going to be there to help with the physical setup of the layout? I know I think he had a bunch of tables that we used last year for the groups that were in the barn for the winter festival.
Yeah, I would assume so. I can confirm with him, and I kind of figured that I'll go probably the day before to set all that up, just so I'm not scrambling on that day.
Right.
right, there's always tables in the barn.
Yeah.
How are we promoting the actual contest itself? Like to make sure that people are aware so that they can actually make a gingerbread house to enter into the contest.
So I guess I'll put it on the website, I'll put it on Facebook. I could put it in the Villager too, and then we could do Shopper's Guide. We could combine both the events and put it all in there.
Right, or do we want to have that advertising cost, or should we maybe see if the school will let us do like a email home to parents? Maybe
Yeah.
we could get like a PTO connection and like put it on the like Woodstock PTO, Marie.
Sure, I can make sure we put it on the PTO page.
Right,
School is usually pretty
maybe
good
the
at sending
Woodstock
home
Proud page.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
put it on there. The school's been letting me send emails for our program, so I'm sure they'll let us distribute this to the kids
Right.
as well. And then
Maybe try to get the word out that way rather than through like advertising like costs.
yeah, I can do that. And then there's like another Facebook group that the rec department's in for like businesses, so I can post on there as well.
Yep. Okay.
I'm sure the business association, they were gonna send it out to all the members and try to have them promote both of these events through every business's social media accounts.
Great. Yep. So I think now it's just important to get the word out so people can like save the date because really, I mean, it'll be here in a month.
Yeah, so I'll put all that out tomorrow. It was just kind of waiting for these guidelines to figure out if we could still actually hold it, but it looks like we can. It's just going to be a little bit of a challenge.
Right. And if all else fails, it's just going to be virtual.
Yeah.
And there should be a virtual aspect to it anyway, regardless of if it's in person as well.
But I
Right.
think combining the events will help, especially because they're going to have it on all those social media accounts. So I think that'll give us more people than I was expecting.
For the
Yeah.
virtual side, if people are dropping them off from 12 to 1 and then people can physically see them from 1 to 4, the other thing I guess would be coordinating, taking a picture of each one and getting it up onto the page for voting. Or are you asking people, I see on here it says remember to share your entry on our Facebook page, but are you going to create like an album on our Facebook page of all the ones that actually come to the barn so people can see them and vote on them? And how long will we leave those up for voting? How do you want to coordinate the timing of that?
Yeah, I figured during that hour span is when I could try to take pictures of everything, put it in kind of one little group on our Facebook page for voting.
Okay.
And then I would say we leave it open till about 4 o'clock. And then that's kind of when we could close it for voting. And then that way we can try to distribute prizes when people are picking everything up.
We could also do like a little live stream type thing at some point between like 1 and 4 too.
Yeah, I could do that as well.
Is anyone on Instagram? I'm not either. My students use it for
Yeah.
all their events. They do like Instagram stories and they get a lot of like little videos on Instagram too. So
We're like dinosaurs, Erica.
I didn't say I was on it. I deputized my students. So, but yeah,
No,
so
I
we
don't
could
have
do
it.
like a live Facebook event, even and like walk around and talk about them and show some of the highlights and stuff too. Like get people excited.
Yeah, and then it'll pop up for notifications for people that follow our Facebook page. They'll see, oh, Woodstock Recreation is live right now, and that'll be a good reminder for them to see, oh, what's going on, and remember to vote.
Yeah, I mean, I could even try to see if Winnie could try to promote that video as well.
That's a good idea.
Excellent. All right, anything else?
I think so. I guess the only other part of that too would be that lights contest. So do we kind of want to look to do the similar thing for prizes and just do like gift certificates?
I think that's easiest.
Yeah.
Do you think the business
Could do a
association might want to
trophy.
give prizes for that because it's not part of the same day that they're already doing something? Or do you think they're kind of maxed out after whatever they're doing the weekend before with us, like the same day as our gingerbread thing?
I can ask, but I'm going to assume a lot is going to be going to their food drive,
Okay.
but it's worth a shot.
Could we do like a trophy, kind of like, you know, the sports teams do, where you hand it down to the next winner the year after year and you kind of fight to keep your trophy piece for the house?
I like that idea. That's fun.
Do we want to then combine the residents and then businesses in one category then, or do we want to do like a separate trophy for each?
I would do a separate one.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about like resources and approach might be very different.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can we do like honorable mentions too for folks? I don't know.
Well, not that many trophies, but
Well, like because I talked to a friend about this and she's like, so is the
Well,
goal to be National Lampoon style, like the most lights and go kitschy, or is it like classic white lights, you know, beautiful Hallmark Christmas? And I was like, I don't know, and I wouldn't know how to pick between the two. So I'm just like, maybe we could have some honorable mentions or superlatives in there.
plus there's already like the house, office, and exit there that
Shepherd's
I don't
Landing.
think you can beat. Yeah,
No,
and Shepherd Landing. You can't
they are
beat that
not
one.
gonna be- They're not doing it this year
for
because
sale,
they're
right?
moving.
Wait, what? They're not doing it this year?
No, they're moving. They bought a house in Massachusetts and their house is for sale and they're moving before the house even sells.
Oh my goodness. Well, look at that. We have a chance.
Tell people, spread the word.
Right? That should be on our flyer.
Yep, they are not doing it. So don't drive by this year. It's kind of sad.
It is. Oh,
Yep, they definitely would have won.
yeah.
So I guess the other piece of that too is, do we want to be the judges, or is that another thing where we want to create like a link and people can vote online?
Or do
I
we
think-
have some of the like business owners be like celebrity judges?
Yeah, you could pick community members or business owners to do it.
It might be fun to add that like people's choice category too, because I know like the boys love driving around to see lights. So for the kids to get to vote on a favorite, maybe like a kid vote, like not the adults, but you know, you can have the business owners, celebrity judges for the majority of it. And then I think it might be fun to have a category of just kid votes on their, just their top, their number one
A
favorite.
Kids' Choice Award.
Yeah. Because that's, I mean, the lights are for everyone, but the kids love it, you know?
We just have to be careful not to make this too complicated because they're all good ideas. But I mean, how much do we want to take on versus just having a fun vote out there?
Yeah.
Right.
So we could do voting electronically again, right? So we can set up another like Google form and have people vote on it or something like that. So that way people can vote in like a window of time. So they have time to go and look at the lights.
So what are we doing? We're putting their addresses out of the participants?
Yeah, so what I figured we would do is it'd be like pretty much the exact same map that we use for the tag sale. And I'll just kind of assign numbers for all the businesses and then residents. And then I could post that map to our website and then Facebook page.
Do we think that we're going to have businesses participating?
It's tough to know. I mean, probably not. I don't think we'd have that many. So I mean, we could,
Or do we just not, do we just say lighting contest, and if it's a business, it's a business? That's one way to try to simplify it.
yeah, we could do that and just keep everyone in. I wouldn't imagine you'd have more than maybe 5 businesses.
I like
Right.
that idea.
So
And
let's
we
just
don't
have
have
it be,
huge businesses in town either, so it's not like we have, you know, skyscrapers that are gonna coordinate lighting in the windows.
Yeah.
it'd be cool if we did, but we don't.
Lots of things would be cool, Sarah.
I know. Tell me about it.
Nature stack.
Yeah, and that would make it easier for that trophy idea because then that way we don't have to have 2 separate awards. It could just be that one award that we use every year.
Right, so you could do a trophy and then a voting one. So you have the voting one, you don't get a trophy, but you get the fame of being people's choice.
Yeah.
So the trophy, is that then using some particular judges that go around and they'll be the official judges and they'll decide like the top one?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the selectmen could do it. You know what I mean? We could have like celebrity people. Maybe some.
When we did
those people.
the businesses for the fair, like all the vendors, like we as a department that ran all the concessions would vote on the decorations they did, but then they always had a few like of the directors that were kind of like the celebrity judges and they gave their vote too. So yeah, I think it's nice to
Right.
have like that official little group to do it.
You
And
know,
then have-
Gary O would do it.
there you go.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
And then that might get us some publicity.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I talked to Brooklyn since they run this event, and that's what they do. They have commission members. I think their rec director does it, and then they have like a few other like town officials that are their judges, and it like rotates every year.
That's great.
So how soon, like the gingerbread contest, will we promote this one? Just so people can start planning their lights.
Yeah, so I will put all this up tomorrow morning.
Yeah, because both of the flyers say the registration is Monday, December 7th. So they both have the same registration, like entry date.
Yeah, I figured that way it's just easier. It gives me kind of the full week to organize everything
Yeah.
beforehand. But I just wanted to make sure that we kind of finalized everything before I put it on there. And then I knew with the guidelines, I just wanted to make sure that we'd be all set and they wouldn't have to take it down as a false alarm.
Right. Well, and you never know. I mean, that still could happen if they pull back even more.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it could change.
But I
the
think
game.
we have to try, and if we're not really using like advertising dollars per se to promote it, what's the worst that happens? It's a canceled event. I mean,
Yeah, and I
Well-
mean the lights, the holiday lights with the trophy, that won't get canceled. That's easy. It's only really
Right.
the gingerbread house that's a maybe. And even
And
that we could
that-
just switch to virtual.
Exactly. People can
Correct.
send you a picture of what they made. It can all be done virtually. That's the nice thing about both of them.
right. And at least we're, we're trying to put something out there.
Yeah.
Was there anything else on the agenda?
A couple things. Like I can run through past programs pretty quickly. Squirt soccer ended. That'll go again in the spring. Girls basketball, we ended this weekend. Right now, nothing for the winter, so we'll try to do the same thing in the spring.
Okay. So definitely no winter basketball for any towns this year.
Thompson has it for elementary school kids. Killingly has it. I don't think Pomfret's doing anything, and I don't think Putnam's doing anything. I reached out to the academy and they said maybe, which more than likely will lead to a no.
Yep.
And the middle school and elementary school said definitely no for the entire school year.
Okay.
And then I guess kind of another thing from past meetings, that movie night. I didn't know if we still wanted to look into purchasing our own equipment, or I talked to Pomfret and they would be interested in like partnering with us to kind of see what the interest level is first, if we wanted to go that option.
And they already have their own equipment in Pomfret?
They have all their equipment, yeah, and she runs it, I think, like 3 or 4 times a year, maybe.
Hmm. That might not be a bad idea to just test the waters.
Yeah, I figure it's a good start for the spring just to see if we have the interest to make that purchase.
Right. I think we should try to do something at the Pink House,
Yeah.
even in the park.
I know the only thing she said is like it would have to be in Pomfret. Like I tried to see if we could borrow it and use it here, and she said no.
Okay, well, that changes it. That changes it.
I
So
think
she's
it's
just
worth looking
up
into the
stuff with
cost.
Pomfret numbers. Sorry, I'm letting my dogs in.
I feel like it's worth looking into what it would cost us to just buy the equipment, because I don't
Yeah.
think it would be that much. And I don't know that we could really get a good idea of how much interest we'll get by just joining with Pomfret versus if we just buy our own. I think it would probably be a worthwhile investment.
So I looked into it. It would depend on like screen size, because they range like anywhere from like 120 inches to like there's like a 20-foot like inflatable one. But it would be like roughly like $350, $400, like in that range.
I would just buy one.
Because we would need the projector, the screen, and then we don't have any speakers, so we would need that as well.
Yep. I think, to me, that's like a no-brainer. I feel
think it
like we could, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I think it could change the dynamic if we had to go to Pomfret. Like, I don't know if people are going to want to go to Pomfret to do it, but I feel like if you tell people in Woodstock, let's watch X classic movie at the Pink House tonight, people would be excited about that. So I think I'm with Sarah. I would just buy the equipment. That cost is nothing like what I thought it would be, way
Yeah,
less
no, it's
anyway.
cheaper than I thought it would be too.
I think especially the fact that we talked about we could have movies, like some classic movies that might end up working out well for the seniors to do stuff. It could be the projector and speakers would end up being used for so many different events throughout the year, indoor and outdoor, I think. So
Yeah.
once we can do stuff indoors.
Yeah, is that something we should vote on, Anthony? Like, should we make a motion to purchase the equipment for an outdoor movie setup?
Do you want me to like first like find the projector, screen, speakers, send
Yeah.
that to you guys before we vote?
Yeah, like a little
Yeah, so then
proposal or
we
write
have
up.
an actual cost.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
a couple
can do
different
that.
options.
Because I just looked through pricing first, but I can put together some stuff where I'll figure out like the different options. 'Cause
Great.
I was trying to think, and I can talk to Pomfret what they have for a screen. I don't know how big we would really need one.
Oh, the other thing was, just because you mentioned speakers, I meant to ask too, when we do the gingerbread thing, if you could talk with Rick beforehand, since he won't be there, because I know for the winter festival he had music playing in the barn, and it would be nice to have some kind of music playing, whether we use his system in there or if people just use a little like Bluetooth speaker with a phone or something, to have some like Christmas holiday music playing while people are walking through the barn. That might be kind of nice.
Yeah, I can talk. I'll ask him.
Okay.
And then the only other thing that I had on here was that facility use contract that I sent over. The only kind of tough part with that is it would hard to be like put concrete fees into that, because it would have to change with every group depending on like how much they kind of pull in for revenue with the kids that they have. Cause like, for example, Nikon, like we couldn't really charge much money for them coming in if we decided that was a group that would be charged.
I think last time we talked about really just charging those big club teams that charge the families thousands of dollars for their season. Because even the Nikon travel team, it's such a small amount to pay compared to what those other club teams cost.
Yeah, I figured like those would be free, and then I would just use kind of the contract just so we have something like on file for when they use our fields.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, we
really-
definitely had talked about like breaking it out based upon who the club was and their size. And obviously some of them are way more profitable than others.
Yeah, because really the two big ones that use it right now are the Mustangs and then Nikon.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the minutes for the last meeting, we talked about implementing for spring 2021, but not applicable to Woodstock rec leagues and Nikon. Just still determining the terms of use, whether it covers a full year of access or specific seasons, and looking at comparable contracts from neighboring towns. So that was from last meeting's minutes.
I think we
Yes.
were even talking about charging just for particular like days use because it was worrisome if they paid a fee for the season or the year, if how much they got to use a field, that then it became inaccessible to some of the rec teams and things like that. So we were talking about maybe specific fees per day or per use.
Yeah, I think it would have to
Yep.
depend on the team coming in of what we charge.
So for like recapping this, it sounds like we're generally in favor of moving towards a facilities fee and contract for specific sizes of club, travel teams, larger organizations, exempting potentially Nikon and rec leagues, and using a per day system for charging, but we haven't finalized this yet.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure how to put the wording for the fees in the contract because you don't really want to have any language that would discriminate against different groups. So that was kind of the tough part. And I sent it over to Jay and he kind of sent it over to the town attorney and he basically just said, put something like, fees are dependent upon the type of event, facility, length of event, like just stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that wording in there on the middle of the page looks good because then we're not promising anything. And it's not spelled out either, like you guys pay this much, but we only charge these people this much. It just says to
Yeah.
contact you about costs.
And I figured per season is the easiest way of doing it.
How soon do we need to approve this for it to be in effect for spring 2021?
So I've already had the Mustangs ask about field for the spring. So I just kind of told them that we were kind of discussing it. We didn't really know kind of what exactly the contract would end up being. So they know that it's going to change, but I didn't like say exactly what the contract's going to be, fees are going to be. But the problem with them is they run like different leagues, like they run travel leagues. Some of it's just through AAU, some of it's then through American Legion. So it depends on what league they're running for baseball.
And other towns are still in the middle of deciding, or have other towns finalized their fees that they're charging?
I haven't heard anything different from anyone else. I know Brooklyn was still in the middle of discussing it. Same with Thompson. Pomfret already has it in place, and Putnam is not going to charge anything, and they don't really have any plans to change that. We did reach out to the academy just to kind of get an idea because a lot of these groups use their facilities.
Mhm.
And I think what Brad said is it's like depends on the group. So like the Mustangs, for example, I think he was going to charge them only like a couple $100, and then they also like donated like quick dry and stuff to maintain the fields.
That's what they're paying for this season.
Well, that's what he proposed, but because we didn't charge, they decided to use our fields and not use any of the academies.
Gotcha. It almost seems like all the groups need to, all the towns need to just have the same fees or something so that it's not, I don't know, competing or,
Race to the bottom.
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause Brooklyn
Otherwise,
was,
obviously just going wherever it's free.
Right.
yeah, because I think Pomfret's like 25 a day. Brooklyn was like 500 for the season. The academy, like he said, it depends on the group, so it's all different.
Okay.
Do we need to vote on this? Like, would we anticipate voting on this at our December meeting?
I would say ideally yes, just that way I can get the answer out for baseball and soccer for the spring. I mean, even January would be fine.
Okay.
Because I know as soon as we kind of decide on this, baseball was already kind of almost ready to send out a schedule to me of when they're going to use the field in spring. They're looking to start in March.
Okay, so we have a little bit of time, not
Yeah,
much.
we have time. And obviously that could change. You never know if
Right.
their
Right.
guidelines are going to say, now you can't play baseball.
And what's the worst that can happen too? Like they've been using the fields and we've been incurring the wear and tear.
Yeah.
And if, you know, we charge and they decide not to do it, I mean,
We're not
it's-
losing money.
we're not losing anything.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
We're just losing wear and tear on the field as far as what we're making right now, we're not making anything. So it wouldn't be. a
Yeah,
loss.
that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's why it doesn't really have to be immediate.
Okay.
So that is kind of everything that I had here on the agenda.
Okay, and then you'll keep us posted via email, right? What you need from us and how we can support the upcoming events and help promote them.
Yeah, and I will talk to the business association to try to figure out what they have for volunteers and kind of see what we'll need for help with that.
Great. Perfect.
So
All right.
no citizen comments. Does that mean we're ready to motion to adjourn?
I think we might be. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:56.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.